I think that a lot of entrepreneurs that we come across have high levels of anxiety that betray the fact that they haven't really gotten at this concept of identity. One of the things we try to help other entrepreneurs with, because I've experienced in my own life, is to have this concept of identity being as this beloved child of God. God actually doesn't need our success. The work's already been done.
So I think entrepreneurship is a really, really hard thing to do. But if they do have the entrepreneurial drive, they've been marked by others as having that talent, the encouragement to get off the sidelines and into the fray comes from having exposure to people who have done it.
If you want to be an entrepreneur and you also have a job, you have to make that decision of when do you make the leap.
You got to bring your whole heart, your whole heart. And your whole heart means you bring your spiritual life, you bring your personality, you bring your intellectual skills, you bring the relationships that are with you, you bring it all. You put it on the table and say, I am willing to be transformed.
Seeking understanding and seeking God and bringing, He'll bring the people and the resources as He sees that you're walking the path that He wants.
I just wanted to go out and create things and be a part of people who they think fast and they work fast and they fail fast and they move forward and they learn a lot. And there's something to that.
There's a point in time in my career where I was working without joy. And it was a time when we were fundraising. We thought that the right thing to do was to raise money. We thought that that's what good, successful entrepreneurs do. And we would pray before we go into these fundraising meetings. Heavenly Father, help us to walk out with a $20 million term sheet. But we were never really being faithful about whether we should even go after fundraising at all. Through the grace of God, we went 0 for 40 in fundraising. It was the greatest thing that ever happened because we ended up really focusing on cash flow. We had slower growth at the beginning, and it became this great thing for us. But we were being willful. So the time where it was hardest for me in the business was the time where I wasn't being faithful. I was being willful. It's hard for us to understand, how do we ever be still? An entrepreneur has a leaning towards being willful and being performance-oriented and being a busybody. Those are really dangerous if we want to be able to hear from God. We've got to get out of this mindset of doing God's work and instead allow God to do work through our work, allow Him to work through us.
There's a lot of prayer, there's a lot of seeking wise counsel involved, and I don't think it's a decision that should be just made off of the energy and enthusiasm of, oh, entrepreneurship is so cool and culture worships entrepreneurs, so that's what I want to do. Take wise counsel into account, pray about it, make sure you have a plan. There's planning involved. There's wisdom to be had about planning things before you take the leap, and I think that really matters.
You can't fake it through and say, my vision is great, my faith is great, therefore, I'm not really prepared with the skills I need, and just expect everything to work.
And it doesn't happen if we're not celebrating Sabbath. Because say we have success because we work really hard 7 days a week, we get to be tempted to think it was because of us and our hard work. And that's not the way God designed us. And I don't think that God blesses companies long term that do that. He designed us to be able to rest in Him. We need to be able to figure out how to do that.
The most critical success factor for entrepreneurs, I think, has something to do with their generosity. And that's with their time, talent, and money. And I think the more that they invest in what they're doing and their passion and being generous with their gifts and what they do, empowering others, their team members, and investing their time, talent, and money into their startups, which is the concept of tithing, which we learn in the gospel, is something that can really help them succeed. The more generous you are, the more at peace you can be. I think that is reflected in culture. I think that's reflected in who they are as a business and who they are as people at the same time.